Welcome to the Profitpreneur Power Play Podcast, your daily dose of strategies, insights, and action steps to grow your business and build your freedom. It's time to stop playing small and start making power plays.
Hello, and good morning. Welcome to the Profitpreneur Power Play Podcast. I had to get cute today because we got a special guest on. Okay, it's in all seriousness. Today we're breaking down one of the most confusing, but also one of the most important parts of online marketing, and that is cookies, pixels, and tracking. And who better to guide us than my amazing husband, Sonny Walton, who is founder and CEO of Profit Sites, as well as co-founder here with me inside of the Profitpreneur. Sonny is a tech strategist and systems expert with serious credentials, okay? He mastered those FINRA Series 3 and 34 exams, which is great for financial strategy. He is certified in Google Ads, Google Analytics, and YouTube ads. And he's fluent in Facebook ads, CSS, JavaScript, HTML. I can't even get it out. And he's built custom solutions for clients on Kartra, Kajabi, ClickFunnels, Go High Level, WordPress, and more. So basically, if it's online, Sonny knows how to optimize it. And today he's going to explain cookies, pixels, and tracking in a way that finally makes sense for all of us non-techie people so we can stop guessing and start using data to make real money online. So without further ado, let me bring him on out. Hello.
Hello.
All right, you ready?
Yep.
Okay, I am out of here.
All right. Cookies, pixels, tracking. Not sure how much I guess folks know about these things. I mean, I know you've heard of cookies and data, and then iPhone has had these new rules come out some years ago. And so I'll just kind of break down what this stuff is, how some of it works, so that you kind of have a better understanding. Because I definitely use some of these things in our marketing. And when you do some marketing, if you plan to run ads, or have ever run ads in the past, you would have used some of these things as well, or some of these things would have affected you. I don't know if you've ever, if you've noticed or know how it works, where if you visit a site and you look at, like, let's say you look at some shoes, or you look at a blender, or whatever item that you're looking at online, maybe, a lot of times it's probably you're looking on Amazon, right? But it could be other sites you're looking at. And then, you go to some other website, and then you see an advertisement for the same item you were looking at on another website, right? You see the same item you was just looking at, but you're not even on that website anymore. That is tracking doing its job. Okay. That is cookies, that is pixels, that is tags actually working. So I'm going to break down how that works, how it helps businesses, and how you can use it to ethically grow your business as well, how we've used it, and a lot of companies use it. All right. So first, let's touch on cookies. Okay. So what are cookies? Cookies are just tiny little text files that are stored in your browser by websites that you visit. All right. So they contain small pieces of information, like your preferences, right? So some websites might ask you whether you like to view the light version or the dark version, or dark mode, right? So it'll save preferences like that. It'll save whether you're logged in or not, right? Your login status. It can save data like knowing what's in your shopping cart, right? So that's why you can go back to a website and the items that you put in your shopping cart are still there, okay? Because of cookies. If you cleared out your cookies, all that data would be gone. You would be logged out of the website. The items in your cart might not be there. Now, a lot of times if you're logged in, it doesn't matter. If you're logged in, the actual website itself will save what's in your cart. right? But for login statuses, if you delete those cookies, it'll log you out. Okay. So when you visit a site again and you're logged in, let's say your Gmail, right, or Facebook, those are cookies at work. All right, it knows you're logged in already because it has a cookie that's already saved. Okay, so there's a couple of different types of cookies. There's first party cookies and third party cookies. So the first party cookies are set by the site you are actually visiting. Okay, that's the website's own cookies. Okay, and like I said, those will be things like saving what's in your shopping cart. Okay, it doesn't matter if you delete your browser cookies. If you go back to the site and you log into your account, it's going to see, it's going to save what's in your cart. Those items in your cart are still going to be there, okay? Because that's the actual website cookie, all right? It can save your login, so that's why you can go to a site and it'll kind of already have your know what email you use to log in, things like that. It can personalize your experience, so it can know, like, say for example, Amazon. If you look at some recent items in Amazon and you go away from the website and you come back to Amazon, you might see those items that you looked at, or it might say recently viewed items, right? Those are website cookies at work, all right? It knows what you recently looked at, and so it'll kind of give you reminders. Hey, you recently looked at this item, things like that. And then there's third party cookies. We use a lot of these. So third party cookies are set by companies through things like ads, right? So this is for cross-site tracking so that advertisers can kind of follow you around the web. That's why, like I said earlier, these ads will follow you around. If you just looked at something on another website, you'll see an ad for that same thing on a different website. All right, that's third party cookies at work. So these are things like Facebook pixels or your Google tags. So if you visit a clothing blog or something like that, or a clothing website, and Facebook has a pixel on that website, all right, it's going to know that you looked at clothes, or it's going to know that you visited a website looking at computer monitors or things like that. All right. So cookies help businesses understand who's visiting, what they're doing on the website, and it's going to help businesses know how to serve them better. Okay. Now, because there's privacy laws as well, right? We all, I don't know if you've heard the term GDPR, right? GDPR laws, General Data Protection Regulation. I think that's what it stands for. These sites now have to disclose or get consent to use cookies. That's why you see these little notifications now on the bottom of websites when you visit them that, cookie preferences, and you have to click accept or decline. That's the GDPR regulations at work. Okay. Pixels. Okay, so we just touched on cookies, so we'll touch on pixels. So pixels are tiny, like invisible pieces of code that are embedded in a website or a funnel. And that loads when you visit a page, and it kind of silently sends data back to the platform. So Google has Google tags. Facebook has Facebook Pixel. And other sites as well. If you're working with Bing, they'll ask you to put a little line of code inside the header of the website. That is the pixel tracking. Okay. So when you install that pixel or script on your website or funnel, and a visitor loads that page, it's going to send the info back to the ad platform. So it's going to send info back to Facebook or back to Google, and it's going to record what the user did, what they clicked on. If you have these certain settings in your Facebook pixel, you can record things like, what button they clicked, what page they viewed, if they made a purchase, if they started to make a purchase, if they abandoned their cart, right? If they left items in their cart, things like that. And that helps the platform show ads to the right people later on. All right. So if you're running a Facebook ad and a visitor clicks the ad, lands on the page, the pixel fires off, Facebook knows that the user visited but didn't buy, right? If they click off, they know they didn't buy. So now you can retarget them with another ad because that person, because Facebook knows that this is a Facebook user that visited your website, clicked on your ad, visited your website, and didn't buy. So now they can go inside of a custom audience, right, that you can manually target later, or just Facebook can just show the ad again to them later, knowing that they didn't buy. All right. So, and these actions track across devices, right? So if you're on your computer, and you visit the site, and then you go on your phone to visit the site, it still knows you're you. It still knows you're you. Okay, for the most part. Again, it lets you retarget these people automatically or manually if you're setting up custom audiences in Facebook. And it helps the platform create these lookalike audience as well. These are people who behave like your best buyers. Okay, so if you have people that buy from your ad, it's going to put these, you can set it up so where it puts these buyers into a lookalike audience. So now Facebook is going to say, hey, what are the common characteristics that these folks who bought share with one another, so that we can go out to Facebook and see who else shares these common characteristics, these common maybe demographics, these common behaviors, and show the ad to them, because maybe they'll buy as well because they have similar characteristics as the people who already bought, right? So to do that, tags. So tags are pretty much the same thing as snippets of code that collects and sends data from the website to these other platforms. So that's like a Google tag. So instead of adding the code, so like Google has something called Google Tag Manager, and that can actually fit multiple different sorts of pieces of code into one sort of a package. Okay, so this lets you so for example, I can actually use Google Tag Manager to not only have a Google tag on my website, but to also I can actually also add a Facebook pixel into my Google tag, right? Because Google Tag Manager is sort of like a suitcase, right? Inside that suitcase, I'm going to pack in my Google tag so it can track things and send data back to Google if I want to advertise for on Google or YouTube. Then I'm going to also stuff in my Facebook pixel into that suitcase that is Google Tag Manager, so that I can send data back to Facebook. You can also, if you're doing ads on LinkedIn or TikTok or Bing or something like that, you can stuff those into your Google Tag Manager sort of suitcase as well, right? And so tags will trigger when specific events happen, like a page load or a button click, and it sends that data back to the appropriate platform. So cookies, pixels, tags, these help tremendously. It's going to help to make marketing better. So without these things, you might be in the dark guessing, right? And showing the wrong ads to the wrong people at the wrong time, right? These make sure that your ads are efficient, that they make sense to people. And it's less, it's going to cost less money as well, because the more efficient your ads can be, the less the ads are going to cost. And of course, that can also translate to the price that you're paying. Okay. And I'm going to touch on the whole iPhone debacle as well, and kind of why I was sort of against it when it came out. So businesses are going to use tracking, like I said, not to spy, but to optimize. Okay. They want to understand your behavior. They want to understand what pages you're visiting, where they're dropping off what pages are not converting so that they can make those better. They're going to retarget interested people, all right, and remind them that, you know, they left these items in their cart, or remind them about the product that they were looking at a couple of days ago. Maybe sometimes it helps. Maybe you got sidetracked and you were looking at some computer peripherals, a computer, you know, a new hard drive or something like that, and you clicked off and you got distracted. You might go to another website and see ads for that same device. Oh yeah, I was looking at some hard drives. Let me go back to that, because I do need a new hard drive, right? It's going to reach people that are likely to buy. It's going to help people. It's going to help your advertisers to spend smarter. Okay, to spend money smarter. Now, going into the ethics and the privacy, not all tracking is bad, but how it's used matters. So when people, when like Facebook Pixel or Google is tracking this information, the advertiser cannot see your data. So I need you to know that they can't see your name and your email and your information. And the only way they can see that is if you give it to them, if you opted into something, if you typed in your name and email or bought something, then they can see the data. But just because you visited the website doesn't mean that they can then see your name and your email and know who it is. Facebook and Google will know what accounts to target and give these account users like sort of like IDs of people who took actions on your website, but they won't pass that data on to you. And it's not like you have a list of Facebook accounts in your ads account where, you know, hey, you know, Sally Mae visited my website. No, it'll just show a certain number of people, a certain number of accounts took actions on your ad, and then it'll do its job and retarget those folks if they didn't take the action that you wanted. So those, like I said, those cookie consent banners, those are part of the regulations and the privacy in place. Of course, you know, selling or misusing your data is not is against the rules. And for the most part, data companies are using your data appropriately within ethics and regulations. Sometimes, you know, you have those data breaches, right? Where, you know, someone hacked the company's data and now your data is leaked and things like that. But these laws and regulations are put in place so that people can actually control their data, right? These cookie consent banners sort of ask you, is it okay if this website or this business tracks this information? Okay, you can select yes or no. You have the right to know what data they have on you. You have a right to correct the information if there's anything wrong with the data. You have a right to have the company delete your data as well if you want. So those are things inside the cookie consent banner. Now, just a bit about the iPhone thing and how those shifts kind of affected things. So back around, I think it's 2021, Apple rolled out this tracking transparency thing with Apple iOS. I think it was 14.5, 14.5, something like that. And these apps must now ask permission to track users across other apps and websites. So those, you know, that pixel thing that I said where it follows you around to different websites, iPhone users have the right to opt out of that. And most people are, right? Because, you know, you say, you know, you ask a person, hey, do you want this site to track you? People are like, no, I don't want to be tracked, right? To them, tracking is a bad thing, right? But there's some implications that they're unaware of, that, and that's why I was against it. Okay, as a marketer, as an advertiser, I was against it. So when users tap, you know, ask, you know, I don't want to be tracked, the app can no longer share data with advertisers like it used to. Okay, so you know, we're talking about Facebook, you're talking about, you know, Instagram, TikTok, Google. They rely heavily on tracking data from iPhones to measure and optimize ads. And in the US, I think the US is one of the few countries where iPhone users outweigh Android users. I think it was like 60-70% of the mobile users in the US are on iPhone. And it's not like that with a lot of other countries. Most countries are Androids, but in the US it's iPhone. And so when that data goes away, advertisers can no longer see what ads are leading to purchases or signups. They can't see what users did after clicking the ad. They can't retarget people accurately. So there's tracking gaps. There's delayed reporting. Your custom audiences aren't as large as they used to be, or aren't as accurate as they used to be. And so the ads can become less precise. The platform has to show the ads to more people, right, to get the same results. And if you know about advertising with Facebook, it's you pay, it's CPM, it's cost per thousand. You're paying according to how many people the ad is being shown to. So if they have to show the ads to more people to get the same result, well, guess what? As an advertiser, you're paying more money. You're paying more money. So if you used to pay $5 a lead, you might be paying $8 to $10 per lead now, because folks are clicking. They don't want to be tracked, right? So your ads can't be optimized efficiently. And so this, small businesses get hit hardest with that because they rely more on retargeting. Retargeting is cheaper than just than getting a new lead, not lead, but when you're running ads, if I run a fresh ad to an audience that kind of doesn't exist, and Facebook is just trying to assimilate and put together who's going to be a good audience for this ad, that's going to be more expensive than me showing ads to a retargeted audience that already took action on my ad. All right. And so when these privacy walls go up, it's not about like Apple being a villain or anything. It's just about the market adjusting. It has to focus more on this first party data, right? Like I talked about, right? Building your email list and actually having people's contact information so that you can market to them. Having your own CRM, your customer relations manager, relying on your website and funnel to collect leads instead of relying on the tracking from the ads. And so with the addition of inflation going on, and then you add to that the fact that a lot of iPhone users are not being tracked, that means the cost of things can go up. The advertisers and businesses are going to pass costs along to you. If their advertising costs go up, well, guess what? You might be paying more for that item later on, right? So that is why I was against it. Not only would it cost more for the advertisers, you and I, but it can also possibly cost more for the consumer, because businesses tend to pass those costs along to the consumer. So I hope that kind of explains the cookies, pixels, tags, and things like that, and so you have kind of a better understanding of how these things work, and how, as a business owner, you could use these things to your advantage as well.
Awesome. I'm probably going to have to watch this again. Just make sure I have it down, because I'm so like, what? But yeah, I'm glad you brought up the whole thing about Apple and stuff, because I had a feeling that was kind of how that was going, but I couldn't find the words to be able to describe that or explain it. But it sounds to me like pretty much how this whole thing works is like, you just want to make sure that you're not bothering people, and you're getting your stuff in front of the people that are looking for your stuff, so they know it exists and they know you exist. Would that be fair to say?
Yeah, the internet is free. As far as us being able to, we don't have to go into our browser and log into the internet and
Right.
pay an internet subscription fee to the internet. Of course, there's the ISP providers and things like that. But
Right.
we don't have to pay every time we visit a website, right? And a lot of times it's like that because of advertising, right? There's advertising on websites, on blogs for reasons. Facebook is free because of advertising. Google, YouTube is free because of advertising. And so if we make the advertising more expensive to the businesses, then that's not really going to be a good thing for us in the long run. Now,
Mhm.
also, with the data and privacy, it does force businesses to be more cognizant and be more careful with how they're using the data. It forces them to be more strategic
Yeah.
with their advertising. Businesses are smart, they adjust and things like that. But this in the bigger businesses for the most part, but the smaller businesses, sometimes, like I said, those get hit the hardest. But yeah, we're gonna need ads and advertising, period. It's just a matter of how that's happening, and we don't want to make the advertising more expensive for the businesses.
Yeah, yeah. And that was the other part that I was going to get to. Because yeah, from the business owner side, I know for me, I'm not trying to get just any and everybody to buy. I only want
Mhm.
people to buy that actually want it. And I
Yeah.
don't want to waste my time or my money getting in front of folks that don't don't really care.
Yeah.
But then the flip side of that is also, what you just mentioned is, if the costs go up for the business with advertising, then the costs are also going to be going up for the consumer. And none of us want that, because whether you're a business owner or not, we're all also consumers.
Hmm.
So who wants that? But I
Yeah.
think I think it's exactly what you said. People hear tracking. I don't want to be tracked.
Mhm.
But it's just not tracking you like you got a chip in your body. It's just it's just like, we're trying to find out the information that we need in order to be able to either give you what you want or get out your face if we ain't got what you want. Like, that's about as simple as I can put it. But yeah, so when it comes to all of these different things, the the tracking, the cookies, the pixels, the ads, everything. Do you be doing that?
Yeah. I was gonna say, from a consumer standpoint, it's basically, if I'm going to see ads, because it's not like iPhone users are not going to see ads anymore. You're going to see ads. Just, if I'm going to see ads, I want them to be relevant for me. I don't want to be
Exactly.
seeing ads for women's bras if I'm a guy, or women's high heel shoes or makeup, or something that has nothing to do with me. If I'm
Right,
not even if I live in an apartment, I don't want to be seeing ads for solar panels. Okay.
right, right. Yeah.
So things like that. But yeah, I absolutely use Facebook pixels when we're running ads. We're using Facebook pixels. We're dropping those on our website. We're setting up custom conversions inside of Facebook. Custom conversions are basically um, uh, or custom events, setting up, letting Facebook know, hey, if people take this action, if people click this button, count it as a certain type of conversion. If people visit this page, count it as a certain type of conversion. And then if you're running Google ads, you're dropping a Google tag on your website
Mhm.
so that Google knows, YouTube knows. So yeah, we absolutely use those things.
Cool. So, this is something that I love, you guys, because once you get your Profitpreneur membership, right? First off, it's 14 days for free. So you have a chance to get in here and really see everything. There's no way we would be able to describe everything that you receive to be able to build your business, because it takes a lot to have a successful, profitable business that will sustain throughout, time. um, but once you're in there, you have that. You'll also be able to see not just the training available for you. So even if you're brand new and never done this before, you will know exactly what to do as if you were an expert already. And then on top of that, you have your tools. So you do have the ability to run ads if you'd like. And you can either learn how to do it yourself, or we can do it with you, or we, and by we I mean Sonny, can do it for you. Right? Sonny and his agency. So there's so many options. There's a lot of flexibility with what you can do, and that is something that I really love that we're able to provide to our members. So thank you so much for being here. And to close, I'll just say this. Tracking doesn't have to be scary or complicated when you understand cookies and pixels. You understand how to find the right people, you lower your costs, and you can start growing your income faster. So inside the Profitpreneur membership, we'll help you connect the dots between mindset, marketing, and tech, so your systems finally start working for you instead of confusing you. So go ahead and start your 14-day free trial today. The link is in the description or the comments or the bio, depending on where you're watching us from. Because listen, it's important to have this, because when you can track it, you can grow it, you can improve it, you can evolve it, you can next level it. And that's what we want for you. All right, you guys, thanks so much for tuning in. We will see you right back around here on Monday, same time, same channel.